What if I told you that over 100 years ago, a king from Cameroon invented his own writing system, ruled a kingdom with hundreds of wives and children, survived political struggles, and fought to preserve his people's history? This is the incredible true story of Sultan Ibrahim Njoya, one of Africa's most remarkable rulers. The year was 1888. The Bamum Kingdom, located in what is now Western Cameroon, was facing one of the darkest moments in its history. King Nisangu, ruler of the Bamum people, had been killed during conflict with the neighboring Anso Kingdom. His death left the kingdom shaken. At the center of this storm stood a young prince named Ibrahim Njoya. He was still young and inexperienced, but the future of the kingdom now rested on his shoulders. Fortunately, his mother, Queen Njabdonki, helped guide and protect him during the difficult years that followed. Many kingdoms would have collapsed under such pressure. The Bamum Kingdom did not. As Njoya grew older, he proved that he was more than just the son of a fallen king. He was intelligent, curious, and determined. Unlike many rulers who focused only on warfare, Njoya worried about something else. He feared that one day the history of the Bamum people would disappear. At that time, most traditions, laws, and stories were passed down orally from generation to generation. If the elders died without sharing their knowledge, centuries of history could be lost forever. Njoya decided that had to change. Around 1895, Njoya began working on something extraordinary. He wanted his people to have a writing system of their own. Night after night, he experimented with symbols and characters. He revised the system multiple times, making it easier to learn and use. Eventually, he created what became known as the Bamum script, or Shumom. For the first time, the Bamum language could be written. This was a revolutionary achievement. Books were written. Historical records were preserved. Laws were documented. Knowledge that might have vanished forever was now protected. Creating a script was only the beginning. Njoya established schools throughout his kingdom. Children learned how to read and write using the new script. The king encouraged education and record keeping. Under his rule, Fumban became a center of learning, culture, and innovation. Artists, craftsmen, historians, and scholars flourished. The kingdom entered a cultural golden. As his influence grew, Njoya built a magnificent palace in Fumban. The palace became a symbol of Bamum pride and identity. Visitors were amazed by the kingdom's organization, architecture, and artistic achievements. The Bamum Kingdom had become one of the most respected traditional kingdoms in the region. Like many African rulers of his era, Njoya had numerous wives. Historical records suggest he had hundreds of wives and a very large number of children. His royal court was enormous. As Njoya strengthened his kingdom, powerful European nations were dividing Africa among themselves. Germany established colonial control over Cameroon. Njoya chose a diplomatic path. Rather than engage in hopeless conflict, he worked with the Germans while trying to protect the interests of his people. For a time, this strategy helped preserve Bamum autonomy. But history was about to change everything. When World War I erupted, Germany eventually lost control of Cameroon. French authorities took over much of the territory. Unlike the Germans, the French administration was less willing to allow traditional rulers significant independence. Njoya's authority gradually declined. Many of the institutions he had built faced restrictions. The king, who had spent decades strengthening his kingdom, found himself losing power. By the 1920s, French colonial authorities had greatly reduced Njoya's influence. Eventually, he was removed from effective power. The ruler, who had preserved his people's history, built schools, and transformed his kingdom, could no longer govern as he once had. In 1933, Sultan Ibrahim Njoya died in Yaoundé. He was far from the height of the power he once held, but his legacy would survive. Today, more than a century later, the Bamum script still exists. The palace in Fumban still stands. The history he fought to preserve is still remembered. Many kings are remembered for the wars they won. Others are remembered for the wealth they accumulated.